So like a lot of you, I have had my eyes on Google Stadia, and while I totally agree with the concerns and issues people are bringing up, or just the general skepticism of this thing even working at all, I can't help but feel that it's pretty cool. I'm not hyped for it, but I'm likely the target audience for Stadia. But I don't think Google knows this. In fact, I don't think Google knows who they're marketing to at all. Like, it's honestly baffling how badly Google is marketing this thing. It's like Ouya levels. Remember that? No? Exactly. So this is what this video is about. Who is Google Stadia for, and why Google doesn't know what they're doing, and just why to everything. Let me tell you how badly Stadia is failing at marketing. The only reason I knew about there being a conference for Google Stadia at all is when Jason Schreier told me it was a waste of time. I'm in the loop. I'm still in my 20s. I'm hip. Seriously, think about this for a second. I use Chrome and I go to YouTube, a Google-owned platform without ad blocker, and on YouTube, I watch video game content. How did I miss this? If anything, I should have been annoyed at all the Google Stadia coverage. It should have been like, wow, we get it. Google Stadia is a thing. Move on. Instead, it's like, Google Stadia is a thing? What's worse is that Schreier was right. The conference sucked. It was laggy, which doesn't look good when you're advertising streaming, but worse, it was boring. People who are otherwise at each other's throats about various issues in games are united in their apathy for Google Stadia. But why? Well, because Google does not know their audience. I don't know who Google is trying to market to at all. Their whole conference played like an E3 of games that they don't even own. It's like they did the worst parts of the E3 conferences and combined them. The lack of new games of Microsoft, the flat presentation of Nintendo, and the business speak of EA. It's like this unholy trinity of E3 conferences. Now, there are people that are saying that this Google Stadia upcoming release is not like the actual release. It's supposed to be like an unofficial stress test. Like, maybe they don't want this to feel like a launch. They want it to feel like a tech conference followed by a stress test. And they want to limit the amount of eyes on this thing. That could very well be the case, but if so, they're doing a really piss poor job of communicating that, because they're still having conferences, they're still trying to get people pumped, still trying to spread the word, still having gaming pundits talking about it on Twitter. People know it's coming, so if it's slow out the gate, it'll be the joke of YouTube for days. Yes, you heard that right, Google. You will be paying creators to make fun of you on a platform you own. Like, why not just have an official beta stage? Google are making this product seem both elusive and also for the mainstream. Both this magic black box, but they'll also explain how the tech works in their conferences. They go from showing games to showing interviews with developers to explaining how the technology will allow exclusive games to be created by like utilizing all the servers or whatever. Like who are you talking to here? Me? My mom? My 14-year-old cousin? A 45-year-old engineer? A 30-year-old journalist? The answer, apparently, is all of them, which means none of them. It means that all of us are bored, except my mom. She was smart and switched over to Ancient Alien reruns 5 minutes in. Appealing to everyone doesn't mean that everyone has a good conference. It just means everyone has something to be confused about, and I am confused. Google is not marketing to the right people. So, who should Google be marketing to? Well, me. Okay, seriously though, really, what about Stadia appeals to me? Well, convenience, but not the convenience Google is pushing. See, Google is really emphasizing this anytime, anywhere convenience, and that is so wrong. Why? Like, let's be real here. Let's talk about the average millennial day. Most people work 9 to 5s. They work, they go home. What do you need to stream Stadia? An internet connection. Even if most people's cell phone data plans could handle Stadia, side note, they don't, they would still also need to own, like, one of the Pixel phones. How many people do you think have both of those? Not many. So the people that are going to be using your product primarily are people that have internet, like actual internet with a computer. Now, based on the average day of people, you're only going to have internet at home and maybe at work if you have decent lunch breaks and work in a place where you have your own computer and you have good internet there and your boss won't give you the stink eye for doing it. Now, a lot of people are saying you need a big, strong internet to run Stadia, and like that itself is a limitation. And yeah, maybe, but I think there's enough people with a decent home internet to make Stadia worthwhile. However, this is a decent home internet. These people aren't going to be able to go play anywhere. So selling people on play anywhere when they can't play anywhere but home is like selling the Wii U as a portable device. And we all know how that turned out. If anything, emphasizing the quote-unquote convenience only reminds people of one of the system's biggest inconveniences. The fact that it requires a constant online connection, and that Google owns one more piece of you that you can't get back. They already know about my personal info, my interests, my photos, all the video files in my taxes folder. Do I really want them to have my games too? Look at any comment section of Google Stadia articles or Google Stadia announcements, and you see people talking about this inconvenience. And while part of that is inevitable, I think a lot of the discussion comes from the fact that Google will not shut their mouths about how convenient it is. Ooh. All that being said, there is a convenience of Stadia. One I don't see them touch on nearly enough. The appeal of Stadia is having the high-end experience of PC gaming, but the convenience of a console. It's that simple. But that convenience is key. It's not the convenience that Google is marketing to, though. At least not nearly enough. So, when you ask the question, what audience would like Stadia? What you're really asking is, what do we call the audience of people willing to pay a premium for this convenience? And the answer, Stadia's target customer, is the premium console user. Honestly, this should have been like a buzzword by now. There should have been Stadia fanboys galloping across forums talking about how they're premium console gamers and everyone else are peasants playing on their PlayStation 4 Pro. Ugh. I'm not saying this is a good thing, but I'm saying that if people were excited about the product, inevitably the combination of the internet plus 12-year-olds would produce that particular level of annoyance. If you don't believe me, visit any Nintendo forum. But yeah, this is who you want for Stadia. Not the 12-year-olds, the premium console users. I mean, some of them might be 12, but you get the idea. On some level, I think you know this, seeing as you spent like millions of dollars making your own video game controller for this thing. Why not just put a label on it? You're not a high school couple, Google. You're not above labels. This is your audience. Embrace them. It's not people who are fine with their console. It's not people who are fine with their PC. It's for people who love games enough to follow the next big thing in the industry and who are willing to pay more for the best graphics at the most convenience. The majority of people in this group are particularly nerdy kids with well-off parents or older gamers with more money than time. I obviously fall into the latter, and I'm not even that rich. I've given up on buying a house or retiring. I'm gonna die in a cardboard box. I don't think this is as niche of a market as some people think it is. Right now, to get the best graphics, you need to build your own computer, and that can suck for a lot of people. There's a lot of anxiety there. How do I know what parts to buy? What if I spend a ton of money on one part, only for it to be incompatible with another part that I buy? If not that, then will the one part that I skimp out on bottleneck the pricier ones? How long until my gaming PC is no longer top of the line? Is it even worth it to go through it at all? And then there are like different versions of PC gaming cards, and they have these arbitrary names, and they have 4 digits sometimes, and the 4 digits are better than the 3 digits sometimes, and other times the 3 digits are better than the 4 digits, and they flip-flop. And then AMD is like, well, we have the RTX, and then like Nvidia's like, we have the Titans. And it's like, what What do I buy? Just tell me what to buy. And it's expensive on top of all that. It's expensive to get something that won't be crap after a year. And Stadia is a nice, clean, polite way to avoid all that nonsense. It's for people that will buy the best graphics and frame rate without the hassle of shopping for it. And I feel like there are people that would buy into that besides weirdos like me. We've already seen some success in this market. Microsoft and Sony tried to tap into this market with the PlayStation Pro and Xbox One X. They didn't become smash hits, but they did okay. To be fair, they had a lot of things holding them back that Stadia doesn't. The jump from regular PS4 to PlayStation Plus or regular Xbox to Xbox One X is not really a big enough jump to justify existing owners jump aboard. These consoles were sort of made to loop in late adopters to the console generation like myself, so this is fine. But still, it's nothing compared to, say, the jump from PlayStation 4 Pro to a high-end gaming PC. Even if it was, though, you still had to buy a new machine, which in principle still sets off some alarms of, oh no, will it be worth the upgrade or not? How long until it becomes out of date? With Stadia, your monthly subscription is paying for the upgrades, which means you never have this anxiety again. As long as you're paying your subscription, you can rest assured you will have high-end graphics indefinitely. Convenience, high-end performance, in your browser, on any machine in the house. See, that is the selling point. The premium console gamer. There is a market for that. They just need to be marketed to. The way to reach out to them isn't by showing us new trailers of games that we already know are releasing, or worse, showing us developers talking about the game trailers of the games that we already know are releasing. Like, I loved the passion of the Cyberpunk 2077 team, and it was cool to see them talking about how they liked playing their own game, but this doesn't make anyone care about Stadia. It just makes me more excited to play Cyberpunk. And you know what's really not a way to make me play Stadia? Buying exclusives. Especially exclusives that are like Orcs Must Die 3? Like, I may be the only one who eye perked at that. Like, I played the other games and they're fun, but they're not like system sellers. Like, you buying exclusives makes it seem like you're trying to mimic the Epic Game Store without understanding the market or the strategy or the fact that Epic Games are kind of strategic in buying indie devs that they know will cause a lot of hubbub and it gets them a lot of free press. And that's a whole nother video, but it's you don't get it. It's like you're this average kid at school that wants to be noticed, and you see the cool kids telling off that one really annoying kid who always does annoying stuff for attention. So you try to do like slightly more annoying stuff to get the same response, but it's all like forced and awkward and no one cares. Like, ooh, do me next, online gaming press. Like, it's pathetic. Like, stop it. The way to reach out to this market is not how you've been doing it. The way you reach out to them is by emphasizing the unique desires of this market, or to tell people that could be part of this market, hey, this is something that you wanted but never knew you wanted. So how would I market to these people, speaking as one of these people? Well, the main thing I would do is ditch the conference. People don't want to see Nintendo Direct, but without Mario. That's like you're trying to fail. No one wants that. Not even you want that. Like, Google, go ahead and try to watch your own conference and see how far you get before falling asleep. No conferences, not even a treehouse. And you know what? That's not a huge loss. Like, what do you have to gain from a conference, really? Why even do one other than the fact that other gaming people did one? You have one exclusive, and it's an indie game with horde mode and crafting mechanics. Cool. You don't have hardware to sell. You don't even know what your brand is yet. Literally, best case scenario, news articles about the conference will be like, Google Stadia definitely was there, and it exists, because there isn't much to talk about. And at worst, you do something stupid like, oh, I don't know, have your stream lag on your own platform, and everyone makes fun of the irony, and your system looks dumb, and you look dumb, and Stadia looks dumb. The conference was a waste of money. No one cares about how your technology works besides you. No, what I would do are short, quick ads spaced out over a short period. Honestly, something like this is about seeing something cool and hip and cutting edge, so you really should have started the ad campaign like later and made it a lot less boring. Slowly drip feed information and have people speculate. Accidentally, quote unquote, leak some tech specs if you want to talk about it, then start to make your presence more known as you get closer to release. But not with your own conference, no. With other people's conference. Secure more titles in general is a generally good strategy for this as well, which really you should be doing anyway because the lineup for Stadia ain't that great. But anyway, go to other people's conferences with these games. Buy up space on EA and Ubisoft's E3 stage. After the new Battlefield trailer plays, have some Google Stadia rep walk up there and say, "Did you see that? Didn't it look awesome? That person was playing on Stadia, 4K, 60 FPS, Battlefield on his laptop. Boom." And then everyone's like, "Oh, well, okay. Maybe Stadia will work." And they associate how cool Battlefield is with Stadia. Not a bad deal. And then even later down the road, you can have a scripted demo of like a small part of a game you know can run well, and you let some streamers play it. And then even closer to release, you start making actual commercials. You need to sell this thing like you sell Spotify or Netflix, as a great selection and a great convenience, but still the best experience. You can emphasize the social aspect and how it's built into your browser too, a little bit. You know, maybe show people bouncing from the video game to Reddit to a YouTube video guide to ask questions, and, you know, the whole take control from the YouTube thing. Like, that whole thing was cool, but that can't be the main focus. The focus needs to be on the high-end convenience. You need to sell it like it's the best of both worlds scenario people want it to be, as an alternative to the annoyances of the platforms they are currently using. And believe me, there's a lot of them. Okay. This is gonna sound dumb, but hear me out. Remember those Mac vs. PC commercials from like 40 years ago, where the PC would like nervously say how complicated it was, and the Mac would be like, "I'm not complicated, I'm a Mac." And then everyone bought Macs? That's what you do, but with consoles and PCs. You do Stadia versus PC, and you show how absolutely absurdly complicated PC part shopping can be for someone who doesn't know anything about them. Have people asking questions about a PC build, have the PC crash, and then be like, Stadia's better. And then do the same thing, but for Stadia versus consoles. Have Stadia run the new Assassin's Creed at like 60 FPS 4K, have the console run it at like 30 FPS, make a joke about how consoles need to update for 40,000 years every single time a developer wipes their nose when Stadia doesn't. Get your equivalent of Kevin Butler, that funny guy from the PlayStation 3 commercials, or honestly, just hire Kevin Butler. He's great. We still love him. Maybe you could have a commercial demonstrating both of these comparisons. Show them like two screens, one with console graphics, the other with PC. Ask which is better. Most will say PC. Then show them two different screens with the text consumer experience. Show someone buying a console and then how simple it is. Just pick up the box and then hook it up and then play it. And then show them just a montage of PC parts, prices, sales, forum threads, trolls responding to the threads, calling people idiots for being understandably confused and overwhelmed at the mess that the PC hardware market is. Overwhelm the audience with images and pictures, and then ask which shopping experience is better. The answer for many will be console. Then have a black screen followed by the words, "What if we could have both?" And then show a not complicated subscription service for Google Stadia alongside the same better than console graphics and frame rates. But don't stop there. Zoom the camera out. Zoom out further, and it's someone playing it in their Chrome browser. And then zoom out even further, and you see it's some guy using the controller that you guys made in their cubicle. And when the boss comes in, they like alt-tab to their workload. And the boss asks them to do some paperwork, and then after the boss leaves, the employee alt-tabs back, and they're playing Destiny 2. And then the slogan pops up. Stadia, the best graphics, the most convenience, the lowest price. Like, I don't know. You may think this is stupid, cheesy, cringe to the max, whatever. But you know what? You wouldn't forget about it, and that's better than what Stadia has now. Google, if any of you made it this far, first off, thank you. And second off, you could have something really great here. You could be the first people to really get streaming right and have it hit the mainstream. The only thing stopping you is you. Hey folks, thanks for watching. I'll be making more videos like this. I also plan on doing game reviews and analysis as well. Got a few videos on my channel already. Particularly proud of my first video, so if you want to check that out, go ahead. So like, sub, leave a comment, all that jazz if you want to see more. Okay. Bye.